Exile and adaptation. The colony ship shuddered as it entered the atmosphere of Novus Prime, a world of harsh extremes that would become humanity's prison. In the crowded hold, 6-year-old Aria clutched her mother's hand, eyes wide with fear and confusion. "It'll be okay, sweetheart," her mother whispered, but Aria could hear the tremor in her voice. Just days ago, they had been en route to a promising new colony world. Then came the attack. Sleek alien ships that disabled their engines and communications. The ship's struggling translator had managed to decipher only fragments of the alien ultimatum. Humans, unpredictable, dangerous, quarantine, adapt or perish. Now they plummeted toward an alien world, with no way to call for help. Aria squeezed her eyes shut as the ship slammed into the ground with bone-jarring force. Alarms blared, people screamed, and humanity's fight for survival on Novus Prime began. The first year was the hardest. Novus Prime was a world of extremes: scorching days, freezing nights, toxic plants, and savage predators. The colonists salvaged what they could from the wreckage of their ship, but supplies dwindled quickly. Many didn't survive that first brutal winter. Aria grew from a frightened child into a determined young woman. She learned to hunt the swift-footed herbivores that roamed the plains, to purify the acidic groundwater, to predict the frequent ion storms that wreaked havoc on their electronics. Most importantly, she never lost hope that one day, humanity would find a way off this world and back to the stars. As the years passed, subtle changes began to appear in the human population. Children born on Novus Prime grew taller and stronger than their parents. Their bones and muscles became denser to cope with the punishing gravity. Their eyes adapted to see further into the infrared and ultraviolet spectrums, allowing them to navigate in the planet's dim light. But the most startling changes were invisible to the naked eye. The harsh radiation and strange minerals of Novus Prime triggered mutations in human DNA, awakening long-dormant genes. Some children began to display remarkable abilities: enhanced strength, accelerated healing, even rudimentary telepathy. Aria was one of the first to manifest these gifts. She discovered her enhanced abilities during a desperate hunt, when she found herself instinctively sensing the location of her prey. At first, these powers frightened her. But as more children of Novus Prime developed similar abilities, she realized this was the key to humanity's survival. By the time Aria reached her 30th year, the human settlement had grown into a thriving community of over 10,000. They had learned to work with the unforgiving environment rather than against it. Sturdy dwellings were carved into the sides of canyons, protected from the worst of the storms. Tough, native plants were cultivated for food and medicine. The deadly predators that had once terrorized the colonists now gave them a wide berth, wary of the strange two-legged creatures with powers they couldn't understand. But Aria never forgot that they were exiles on this world. She passed down the stories to her children and grandchildren, tales of Earth, of the vast galaxy that was their birthright, and of the mysterious aliens who had condemned them to this harsh existence. She made them promise to keep looking to the stars, to never stop searching for a way back. "We are the children of Earth," she would tell them, her eyes gleaming with fierce pride. "And one day we will take our place among the stars once more." As Aria grew older, she watched with pride as subsequent generations pushed the boundaries of their adaptation even further. Her grandson, Zane, was born with eyes that could pierce the deepest darkness and skin that could withstand the harshest radiation. He moved with a grace that seemed to defy gravity and possessed a mind that could touch the thoughts of others. Zane was fascinated by the stories of his grandmother's youth, of the early days of the colony, and the world that had come before. He spent countless hours exploring the wreckage of the colony ship, searching for clues about their past and the technology that had brought them across the stars. It was on one of these expeditions, nearly 200 years after humanity's exile began, that Zane made a discovery that would change everything. Deep in a previously unexplored section of the ship, he found a sealed compartment. Inside was a device unlike anything he had ever seen, a small spherical object that hummed with strange energy. As Zane's fingers brushed its surface, the device sprang to life. A holographic message flickered into existence, showing the image of an alien being with luminous silver eyes. To the descendants of Earth, the message began, "I am Lyria of the Ellens. If you are seeing this, then the worst has come to pass. The Galactic Council, in their fear and short-sightedness, have exiled your species to this world. But know this, your ancestors were not the violent savages the Council painted them to be. They were a species of great potential, one that could have brought much good to our galaxy." Zane listened, transfixed, as Lyria explained how a faction within the Ellen government had disagreed with the Council's decision. Unable to prevent the exile, they had instead worked in secret to give humanity a fighting chance. The device Zane had found contained a wealth of information: historical records, scientific knowledge, and coordinates to key locations across the galaxy. "We have done what we can to aid you." Lyria's message continued. "The rest is up to you. Know that you have allies among the stars, even if we cannot openly support you. May you grow strong, children of Earth, and may you one day reclaim your rightful place in the galaxy." As the message faded, Zane sat in stunned silence. His mind raced with the implications of what he had learned. They were not forgotten. They were not alone. And now, they had the knowledge to fight back. With trembling hands, Zane gathered up the alien device and raced back to the settlement. It was time for the children of Novus Prime to fulfill the promise made by their ancestors. It was time to return to the stars and show the Galactic Council just how much humanity had changed. As Zane burst into the central meeting hall, his eyes blazing with excitement and his mind broadcasting waves of intense emotion, he knew that nothing would ever be the same. The time of exile was over. The era of humanity's return was about to begin. The discovery. 200 years had passed since humanity's exile to Novus. The harsh world that had once threatened to break them had become home to a new, evolved human species. The descendants of the original exiles had adapted in ways their ancestors could never have imagined. Zara, a young scientist and great-great-granddaughter of Elena Rodriguez, stood at the edge of New Hope's towering walls. Her eyes, larger and more sensitive than those of her Earthborn ancestors, easily pierced the perpetual crimson haze that shrouded the planet. The toxic storms that had once ravaged their settlements now broke harmlessly against energy shields reverse-engineered from scraps of Concordat technology. "Another beautiful day in paradise," quipped Marcus, her research partner, as he joined her on the observation deck. His skin, like Zara's, had a faint bluish tinge, a side effect of the genetic modifications that allowed them to process Novus's chlorine-heavy atmosphere. Zara smirked. "You say that every day." "And I mean it every day," Marcus replied with a grin. "We're alive, we're thriving, and we're on the verge of something big. I can feel it." Their light banter belied the excitement they both felt. For months, they had been working on a project that could change everything. A deep space scanner cobbled together from salvaged parts and human ingenuity. Today was the day they would finally activate it. As they made their way to the research facility, Zara marveled at how far they had come. The struggling outpost of her ancestors' stories had grown into a vast metropolis. Spires of nano-reinforced materials stretched towards the sky, while sprawling underground complexes housed hydroponic farms and manufacturing centers. But it wasn't just their technology that had advanced. Humans themselves had changed. Generations of exposure to Novus's harsh environment and carefully guided genetic engineering had led to a population that was stronger, faster, and more resilient than ever before. Some, like Zara, had even developed abilities that would have seemed like science fiction to their ancestors: heightened senses, rapid healing, and in rare cases, limited telepathic abilities. The research facility was abuzz with activity as final preparations were made for the scanner's activation. Dr. Yelena Volkova, head of the project and a living legend among Novus's scientific community, greeted them at the entrance. "Are we ready to make history?" she asked, her eyes twinkling with excitement. Zara nodded, trying to keep her nerves in check. "All systems are go, Doctor. We're ready when you are." As they entered the control room, a hush fell over the assembled team. This was the culmination of years of work, the potential key to unlocking the mysteries of their place in the galaxy. With a nod from Dr. Volkova, Zara initiated the startup sequence. The scanner hummed to life, its improvised components working in perfect harmony. On the main view screen, a map of their local stellar neighborhood began to take shape. But as the scan expanded further into space, something unexpected appeared. "What is that?" Marcus muttered, leaning in closer to the screen. Zara's eyes widened as she realized what they were seeing. It's a ship. A massive ship, just at the edge of our solar system. The room erupted into a flurry of activity as the team worked to gather more data. As the image sharpened, there was no doubt. It was a ship of Concordat design. "They've come back," someone whispered, a mix of fear and anticipation in their voice. But Zara's attention was drawn to something else, a faint signal emanating from the ship, barely detectable above the background noise of space. As she focused the scanner on it, her heart began to race. "Dr. Volkova," she called out, her voice trembling with excitement. I think it's trying to communicate with us." The next few hours were a blur of frantic activity as the best minds of Novus worked to decipher the signal. When they finally cracked it, the message left them stunned. "To the children of Earth, exiled but not forgotten. We are the Ellen, a faction within the Concordat who have long opposed your unjust treatment. We come bearing gifts, knowledge, technology, and the truth about your past. The time has come for humanity to reclaim its place among the stars." As the implications of the message sank in, a mixture of emotions swept through the facility. Hope, anger, excitement, and trepidation. They were not alone. They had not been forgotten. And now, they had a chance to confront those who had condemned them to this harsh existence. Dr. Volkova was the first to break the silence. "We need to convene the council immediately. This changes everything." Within hours, the leaders of Novus's various settlements had gathered in New Hope's Grand Assembly Hall. The atmosphere was electric as Dr. Volkova presented their findings. Councillor Darian Chen, a direct descendant of Dr. Aisha Kapoor, spoke up as the presentation concluded. "While this news is extraordinary, we must proceed with caution. This could be a trap, a way for the Concordat to finish what they started 2 centuries ago." Zara, invited to the meeting due to her role in the discovery, felt compelled to speak. "With all due respect, Counselor, even if this is a trap, can we afford to ignore it? This is the first contact we've had with the wider galaxy since our exile. It's a chance to learn, to grow, to finally understand why we were sent here." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembly. Councillor Ava Okafor, her dark skin bearing the iridescent patterns that had become common in equatorial settlements, nodded thoughtfully. "Zara's right. We've spent generations preparing for this moment. Our ancestors didn't just survive on this world. They thrived. We've evolved, adapted. Whatever the Concordat's intentions, we're not the same helpless species they exiled 200 years ago." As the debate raged on, a plan began to take shape. A delegation would be sent to meet with the Ellen ship, comprised of their best scientists, diplomats, and security personnel. They would seek answers, forge alliances if possible, and, if necessary, show the galaxy that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. Zara found herself appointed to the delegation, her expertise with the scanner and her role in the discovery deemed invaluable. As the meeting adjourned and preparations began in earnest, she felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. Marcus found her later, as she was preparing her equipment for the mission. "So, you're going to make first contact," he said, a hint of worry in his voice. Zara nodded, her expression determined. Someone has to. And I need to know, Marcus. I need to understand why they did this to us, why they thought they could just discard us. He placed a hand on her shoulder, his touch conveying support and concern. Just be careful out there, okay? We don't know what we're walking into. As the day of departure arrived, Zara stood with the rest of the delegation at New Hope's spaceport. The ship that would carry them to their rendezvous with the Ellen vessel was a marvel of human engineering, sleek, powerful, and built to withstand the rigors of deep space. Dr. Volkova addressed the crowd that had gathered to see them off. Today, we take our first steps back into the galaxy that once rejected us. We go not as supplicants, but as equals. Whatever we find out there, know this: humanity's spirit could not be broken. Our resolve could not be shaken. We are the children of Novus, forged in adversity, and we will show the stars what it means to be human. A cheer went up from the crowd as the delegation boarded their ship. As Zara strapped herself in, she took one last look at the world that had shaped her species for 2 centuries. Whatever happened next, she knew that nothing would ever be the same. The ship's engines roared to life, and with a burst of energy, they shot into the crimson skies of Novus. Humanity's return to the galactic stage had begun, and the Concordat would soon learn the consequences of their fateful decision made so long ago. First contact. The sleek human vessel, christened the Phoenix, glided silently through the inky void of space. On the bridge, Zara stood transfixed by the view of the massive Ellen ship looming before them. Its design was organic and fluid, unlike anything in humanity's historical records or imagination. "It's beautiful," she breathed, her enhanced eyes picking up subtle energy patterns rippling across the ship's hull. Captain Eli Torres, a grizzled veteran of Novus's defense force, grunted in acknowledgement. "Beautiful, and powerful enough to vaporize us with a thought. Stay sharp, people. We're making history here, but let's make sure it's not our last chapter." As they approached, a soft chime indicated an incoming transmission. The ship's eye, a marvel of human ingenuity, quickly translated the alien language. "Greetings, children of Earth," a melodious voice echoed through the bridge. "We are the Ellen. Please proceed to Docking Bay 3. We eagerly await our first face-to-face meeting." The docking procedure was tense, every crew member acutely aware of their vulnerability. As the airlock cycled, Zara took a deep breath, steeling herself for whatever lay ahead. The Ellen delegation that greeted them was a sight to behold. Tall, willowy beings with iridescent skin and large, expressive eyes, they radiated an aura of ancient wisdom and barely contained excitement. One stepped forward, bowing slightly. "I am Lyra, lead diplomat of the Ellen Concordat Reform Movement. On behalf of all those who have worked in secret for centuries to right the wrongs done to your people, welcome." Dr. Volkova, designated as the human spokesperson, returned the gesture. "We thank you for your welcome. Though I must admit we approach this meeting with both hope and caution. Our history with the Concordat is complicated." Lyra's expression softened. "We understand, and we have much to discuss. Please, follow me to our conference room. There is much history to unveil." As they walked through the Ellen ship, Zora marveled at the advanced technology seamlessly integrated into every surface. She could sense the barely contained excitement from her fellow scientists, eager to learn and understand. In the conference room, Lyra activated a holographic display that filled the center of the room. "To understand your place in galactic history, we must go back to humanity's first contact with alien life." The hologram showed Earth, as it was centuries ago. A small alien craft appeared, approaching the planet. This scout ship, belonging to a species known as the Zorax, was the first to discover your world, Lyra explained. But rather than follow protocol and report back to the Concordat, they decided to make first contact on their own. The hologram shifted, showing scenes of panic and violence. The encounter went poorly. Misunderstandings led to conflict, and the Zorax fled, but not before causing significant damage and loss of life. Zara felt a chill run down her spine. This was not the history they had been taught on Novus. Lyra continued, her voice tinged with regret. When the Zorax reported back to the Concordat, they painted humanity as a violent, unpredictable species. They claimed you had attacked them unprovoked, and that your rapid technological advancement made you a threat to galactic stability. The hologram now showed the Concordat chamber, filled with alien representatives arguing heatedly. There was much debate, but in the end, fear won out. The decision was made to isolate humanity before you could develop interstellar travel capabilities. Dr. Volkova's voice was tight with barely controlled anger. So we were condemned based on a lie. An entire species exiled because of one botched first contact. Lyra bowed her head. Yes, and it is a shame that many in the Concordat still carry. But not all agreed with this decision. A faction formed, working in secret to monitor your progress and find a way to eventually reintegrate humanity into the galactic community. The hologram now showed Novus, and the incredible changes humanity had undergone. What we didn't anticipate was how quickly and dramatically you would adapt to your new environment. Your evolution has been unprecedented. Captain Torres leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. So why come to us now? What's changed? Lyra's expression became grave. The balance of power in the Concordat is shifting. Those who fear humanity's potential are pushing for more permanent measures to contain you. We could not stand by and allow that to happen. The implications hung heavy in the air. Zara's mind raced with the possibilities and dangers this information presented. Dr. Volkova broke the tense silence. What do you propose? Surely you don't expect us to simply forgive and forget 2 centuries of exile. Lyra shook her head. No, we expect nothing of the sort. What we offer is a chance for humanity to rejoin the galactic stage on your own terms. We bring knowledge, technology, and political support within the Concordat. She gestured, and the hologram shifted to show a dazzling array of advanced technology. All of this we offer freely, to help you defend yourselves, to catch up on centuries of scientific advancement, to take your rightful place among the stars. The human delegation exchanged glances, a mix of excitement and suspicion evident on their faces. Captain Torres voiced what they were all thinking. And what do you get out of this arrangement? Lyra's answer was simple but profound. Balance. The Concordat has grown stagnant, mired in ancient politics and fear of change. Humanity's unique perspective, your incredible adaptability and drive, could be the catalyst needed to usher in a new era of galactic cooperation and advancement. As the implications of Lyra's words sank in, Zara felt a surge of pride and determination. This was more than just a chance for revenge or reclamation. It was an opportunity to shape the very future of the galaxy. Dr. Volkova straightened, her voice firm. We will need time to discuss your offer and consult with our leadership back on Novus. But know this, whatever path we choose, humanity will not be dictated to. We come to the galactic stage as equals, not as supplicants. Lyra bowed deeply. We would expect nothing less. Take the time you need. We have waited centuries. We can wait a little longer. As the human delegation filed out to return to their ship and report back to Novus, Zara lingered for a moment, her eyes locked on the holographic display of the galaxy. Somewhere out there was Earth, the homeworld she had never seen but had heard so much about. She felt a presence beside her and turned to see Lyra, watching her with curious eyes. Your people have come so far, the Ellen said softly. Further than we ever imagined possible. What you choose to do with that strength will shape the fate of us all. Zara nodded, a mix of emotions swirling within her. We were forged in adversity, tempered by a world that tried to kill us at every turn. But we didn't just survive. We thrived. Whatever comes next, the galaxy isn't ready for what humanity has become. As she turned to join her fellow humans, Zora's steps were filled with purpose. The children of Novus were about to step onto the galactic stage, and nothing would ever be the same again. The return. The grand chamber of the Galactic Concordat buzzed with nervous energy. Representatives from 1,000 worlds filled the tiered seats, their multitude of forms a testament to the diversity of life in the galaxy. At the center of it all stood High Counselor Zixlara, her iridescent scales shimmering under the ethereal light. "Order," she called, her voice cutting through the din. "We are gathered here today to address a matter of utmost importance. A species long thought lost has returned to the galactic stage." A hush fell over the assembly as a holographic display flickered to life, showing images of the evolved humans. Gasps and murmurs of shock rippled through the crowd. "Impossible," one delegate hissed. "They were meant to die out on that toxic world." Zixlara's compound eyes narrowed. "And yet, they have not only survived but thrived. The humans have returned, changed in ways we could never have anticipated." As if on cue, the massive doors at the far end of the chamber swung open. A delegation of humans strode in, their presence commanding attention. At their head walked Zara, her enhanced physique and piercing gaze a stark contrast to the historical records of humanity. Flanking her were Captain Torres, his battle-hardened form radiating barely contained power, and Dr. Volkova, her eyes gleaming with centuries of accumulated knowledge. Behind them came a contingent of human warriors and scientists, each a testament to their species' incredible adaptation. Zixlara's voice quavered slightly as she addressed them. "Welcome, representatives of Earth. The Concordat recognizes your right to speak before this assembly." Zara stepped forward, her voice clear and strong. "We come not as representatives of Earth, High Counselor. We are the children of Novus, forged by the world you condemned us to, tempered by adversity you could not imagine." She paused, her gaze sweeping the chamber. "We stand before you not to beg for acceptance, but to claim our rightful place among the stars. For 2 centuries we have endured, we have evolved, and now we have returned." The chamber erupted into chaos. Some delegates shouted accusations, others pleas for calm. Through it all, the human delegation stood unmoved, their unified presence a silent challenge to the Concordat's authority. Zixlara struggled to regain control. "Please, we must approach this situation with reason. Surely we can come to a peaceful—" Her words were cut short as alarms blared throughout the chamber. The holographic display shifted, showing a massive fleet of ships dropping out of hyperspace near the Concordat's capital world. Captain Torres stepped forward, his voice grim. "It seems not everyone is interested in a peaceful solution, High Counselor. That fleet belongs to the Zorax, the very species whose lies condemned us to exile." Panic gripped the assembly as the implications sank in. The Zorax, fearing the return of humanity and the exposure of their ancient deception, had decided to take matters into their own hands. Zara's voice cut through the chaos. "We did not come seeking war, but we are prepared for it. The question now, esteemed members of the Concordat, is where you stand, with those who would perpetuate a lie, or with those who seek justice and a new era of cooperation." For a moment, the chamber stood on a knife's edge. Then, slowly, delegates began to stand. The Ellen representative was first, followed by others who had long questioned the decision to exile humanity. Zixlara, seeing the tide turn, made her decision. "The Concordat will not stand with deceivers and warmongers. Humanity has proven its worth through unimaginable hardship. We will face this threat together." As if rehearsed, the human delegation moved into action. Dr. Volkova interfaced with the Concordat systems, her enhanced mind easily navigating alien technology. "I'm patching our fleet into your defense grid. With our combined forces, we stand a chance." Captain Torres barked orders into a communicator, coordinating the human fleet's movements with the Concordat's defenders. Zara reached out with her mind, connecting the human warriors with their new allies, creating a telepathic network that spanned the defending forces. The battle that followed would be remembered for centuries as one of the most pivotal moments in galactic history. The Zorax fleet, confident in their superior numbers, found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. Human ships, powered by a combination of advanced technology and psionic energy danced through their formations with impossible agility. On the ground, human warriors fought alongside Concordat defenders, their evolved abilities turning the tide against Zorak's shock troops. Force fields sprang up to protect civilians, while precisely targeted energy blasts took out enemy positions with surgical precision. Through it all, Zara stood at the heart of the Concordat chamber, her mind stretched to its limits as she coordinated the defense. She felt every victory, every loss, the ebb and flow of battle pulsing through her enhanced senses. As the last Zorak ship fell, a cheer went up from the combined forces. The threat had been repelled, and in doing so, humanity had proven beyond doubt their value to the galactic community. In the aftermath, as the dust settled and the true scale of what had transpired sank in, Zixlara once again called for order in the chamber. "Today we have witnessed the dawn of a new era," she announced, her voice filled with a mixture of awe and trepidation. "Humanity has shown us the true meaning of resilience, of adaptation, of unity in the face of adversity. We owe them more than we can ever repay." She turned to Zara, bowing deeply. "On behalf of the Galactic Concordat, I extend our deepest apologies for the injustices done to your people. We humbly request that humanity take its place as a full member of our community, with all the rights and responsibilities that entails." Zara stepped forward, her expression solemn. "We accept your apology, High Counselor, and your offer of membership. But know this, we come not as the humans you exiled, but as something new. We are the children of Novus, and we will help shape a new future for this galaxy." As the chamber erupted into applause, Zara allowed herself a small smile. They had done it. Humanity had not only survived, but had returned to claim its place among the stars. The path ahead would not be easy, but they were ready for whatever challenges the universe might throw at them. The children of Novus had come home, and the galaxy would never be the same again. A new era dawns. The return of the Phoenix to Novus Prime was met with jubilation. The once harsh world that had been humanity's prison for 2 centuries now bustled with activity as news of their success spread. The great domes that had protected their cities from the toxic atmosphere now gleamed with new purpose, not just shelters, but gateways to a vast, unexplored galaxy. Zane stood before the assembled leaders of Novus, his team flanking him as he delivered their report. The council chamber, carved from the living rock of their adopted world, fell silent as he spoke. "We have done it," he began, his voice carrying easily to every corner of the room. "Humanity has reclaimed its place among the stars. But this is not an ending. It is a beginning." He went on to detail their encounters, the revelations about their past, and the terms of their agreement with the Galactic Council. As he spoke, he could see the mix of emotions playing across the faces before him. Pride, excitement, but also apprehension. Elder Kira, her face lined with the wisdom of a century on Novus, was the first to speak after his report. "You have done well, Zane, but I fear the challenges ahead may be even greater than those we faced. How do we rejoin a galactic community that once cast us aside? How do we ensure our unique identity, forged in the crucible of this world, is not lost?" Zane nodded, acknowledging the weight of her words. "You're right, Elder. We are not the humans who left Earth, nor are we simply another species in the galactic community. We are something new, shaped by our experiences here. And that uniqueness is our strength." Over the following months, Novus Prime became a hub of frenetic activity. Ellen ships arrived, bringing with them advanced technology, and teams of scientists eager to study humanity's extraordinary evolution. In return, human specialists began to voyage out into the galaxy, their unique abilities and perspective highly sought after. The terraforming of Novus Prime began in earnest, a joint project between human engineers and alien experts. Slowly but surely, the caustic atmosphere began to clear, and patches of Earth-like vegetation began to take root in the once barren soil. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. As humanity reintegrated into galactic society, tensions arose. Some species viewed them with fear, seeing their rapid evolution and psionic abilities as a potential threat. Others sought to exploit their knowledge and skills, leading to diplomatic incidents, and in some cases, outright conflict. Zane found himself splitting his time between Novus Prime and Axis Prime, navigating the treacherous waters of galactic politics. In one particularly tense council session, he faced down a coalition of species calling for restrictions on human expansion. "We understand your concerns," Zane said, his voice calm but filled with conviction. "But let me be clear, we will not be caged again. We come in peace, seeking cooperation and mutual benefit. But we will defend ourselves if threatened." To demonstrate his point, he allowed his psionic energy to flare briefly, causing ripples of unease through the chamber. It was a calculated risk, but one that paid off. The motion for restrictions was tabled, at least for the time being. Back on Novus Prime, Area led efforts to integrate their new knowledge and technology with their evolved abilities. The results were nothing short of revolutionary. Ships that could be controlled by thought, medical techniques that could heal injuries in minutes, and communication systems that spanned the galaxy instantaneously. "We're not just catching up," Area told Zane during one of his brief visits home. "We're leapfrogging centuries of development. The galaxy isn't ready for what we're becoming." Zane smiled, but there was a hint of worry in his eyes. "That's what concerns me. We need to balance our growth with diplomacy, or we risk isolating ourselves again." As the years passed, humanity's influence in the galaxy grew. Novus Prime, once a prison, became a center of innovation and learning. Alien species came in droves to study, trade, and collaborate. The children of Novus, with their unique abilities and perspective, became highly sought after in fields ranging from diplomacy to scientific research. But with their growing influence came growing pains, a faction within humanity, led by those who still harbored resentment over their exile, pushed for a more aggressive stance in galactic affairs. They argued that humanity should use its power to dominate, to ensure they would never be vulnerable again. Zane found himself once again at the center of an ideological struggle, this time among his own people. In a passionate address to the Novus Council, he laid out his vision for humanity's future.